Now that Dylan Cease has received the largest contract of the offseason, several in the New York media are pushing for the New York Mets to pursue these two free agents. I'm going to give you my reaction next on MetCast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of MetCast. As always, I am Randy. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you smash that like button, become a subscriber, and consider becoming a member. Click the link in the first comment to become a member to be guaranteed to get your voices heard live on our podcast. It's the best way to support the channel. And with that said, happy Thanksgiving. God bless all you guys. I'm very thankful for my family and all you guys, this amazing community that we have built. Please say a prayer over your children tonight. Remember, there's one God we serve, and his name is Jesus. And with that said, the folks in the media are kind of in shambles right now. Seeing that Dylan Cease contract, 7 years, $210 million, he's got a higher AAV than Max Fried got last year with the New York Yankees, which is crazy to me for a guy with a 4.5 ERA. But I predicted it a couple months ago because he throws 98, 99, has the highest K rate, pretty much in all of baseball is right there. He was going to get that crazy type of contract, which almost makes me sit here and question, do we trade these top-end pitching prospects that we have, knowing that a Skubal or a Peralta will be a free agent at the end of 2026. So if you trade all these guys, the cupboard will be bare and these guys will be free agents. And there's no bones about it. The Dodgers will be involved. The Yankees will be involved. The Red Sox will be involved. Hell, Toronto might be involved. Maybe Milwaukee gets involved trying to retain their own guys. It's not a lock that the Mets would get one of these couple of pitchers that are out there, but the guys over at SNY break down two top-end free agents, and to my shock, which I've never seen happen in the media, Gary Apple is calling for us to sign this one player. Let's give it a look.
You would assess the outfield market, in particular the free agent outfield market, as it pertains to the Mets.
Yeah, and when I talked about flexibility earlier, that's exactly what I mean.
Anthony DeComo,
the entire galaxy of free agent outfielders for the Mets. Whereas before you were talking about potentially trying to thread a little bit of a needle where you want to bring in a center fielder, but not someone who's going to block Carson Bench long term. You can bring in anyone now, anyone. And what's interesting though about this,
I want you guys to pay attention to what Gary Apple says.
I see the free agent like really impact is two guys, because after you get past Kyle Tucker and Cody Bellinger, it goes downhill quickly. You're probably looking at Harrison Bader as the next best.
Him mentioning Harrison Bader there is of concern, and I will tell you guys this. A name that I've been hearing floated out there, and I will be livid if this happens, is Robert Jr. of the White Sox. He stinks. I don't want to hear about a platoon, lefty, righty, him, Tyron Taylor. I don't want to hear it. No, thank you. We are trying to beat the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Brewers, and potentially the Braves, depending on what they do this offseason. No platoons out in the outfield. Go get me a stud.
Guy. Right. I don't think that's as good of a fit for the Mets. But when all of a sudden you're talking about, okay, maybe we could get Pete Alonso and Kyle Tucker, or Pete Alonso and Cody Bellinger. Like, that's
the dream here. Let's be real. And even though I would like Kyle Tucker, the injuries concern me. The slow return from injuries. Now, the production is there. The guy's a lock to be in the mid 800s to 900 OPS. And you add him in a lineup with potentially him maybe hitting behind a Pete Alonso and Juan Soto, or dare I say you stick him in the 2-hole and you have him and Soto back to back. Talk about crazy protection. That's where I'm looking.
All of a sudden the ceiling of your team gets a lot higher. So when I say subtracting Brendan Nimmo opens this flexibility, that's exactly what it does. It puts you in play specifically for Kyle Tucker and Cody Bellinger, one of those two who's going to make you a better team if you can sign.
And I think they've got to get one of those two guys. Tucker, to me, would be.
Check out what he just said. I think they got to get one of those two guys. These guys are plugged in. I said it 2 weeks ago live on this podcast. That's why you guys got to check out our live streams. Make sure you have those notifications on, because we go live. We have the guys from SNY on the podcast all the time. The John Harpers. I'm getting Anthony McCarron on shortly. They know their stuff. And I said that the Mets spoke with Kyle Tucker's agent about Kyle Tucker, and everybody laughed it off because of the current outfield configuration. And that's why I started saying the Mets are going to try to trade Brandon Nimmo. And look, it happened. It happened.
A great fit, although Bellinger is a little bit more versatile. What about you, Todd? Who do you think is a better fit for the Mets if they can get one of these guys, a Bellinger or Tucker?
Yeah, I think you're thinking the same way that I am, Gary. I think because of the flexibility, you're not as much worried about what the contract's going to look like. Kyle Tucker's a couple years younger than Cody Bellinger. He's going to stand to want a little more because of the years on his.
A little more. He's going to want a lot more AAV wise. We got to put that in perspective a little bit.
Contract, but at the same time, I think one of the things that may impact this decision or the ability to really go hard after one of these guys is the same thing that we're talking about that led to the trade for Marcus Semien, and that is that David Stearns is very, very cognizant of trying to find guys that are good for run prevention. That says Cody Bellinger because he can play Gold Glove caliber.
And Kyle Tucker's no stiff in the outfield. He's in the upper 80 percentile in regard to arm. Maybe not the fastest of guys. I understand that, but he is a better defender, in my opinion, than Nimmo. And the arm is there. Even if you stick Tucker in left field, I mean, let's be honest. You hear Texas say, oh, we're going to stick Brandon Nimmo in right field. That's an automatic first to third every single time there's a base hit to right field. That's not the scenario with Soto and Tucker in the outfield, although Bellinger is clearly the better defender.
Left field, center field, first base. He's a guy that you can put anywhere, and he's going to have a great glove and be a great run defender, as well as the offense being about the same as what you can expect from Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker, on the other hand, does have a little bit better offensive numbers over the course of his career if you condense them. And
it's a lot better. The OPS is staggeringly higher over the last 4 years.
And he is a guy that's
2 years ago, he had an OPS in the mid-9s. You're going back to Bellinger's first year and second year to get that kind of numbers.
2 years younger. He's played well in the playoffs and World Series, so he's got those credentials. So I think it's a toss-up except for the defense. And if you're really looking to improve run prevention, then Cody Bellinger's that guy over Kyle Tucker in my mind.
I've got to say this. If Pete Alonso is back with the Mets next season, that's a big if right now. I would love to see Tucker out there in left field, right?
Gators.
I agree. Imagine that. Tucker is a Hall of Famer, and he does it in the postseason. We've seen it. He's won titles in Houston. People fear him. And I'm not saying people don't fear Bellinger, but there's a different oh crap moment when Tucker's in the on-deck circle. You could potentially have a lineup with 4 bona fide Hall of Famers in their prime next season with the New York Mets if you wanted to. If you wanted to lead off Lindor, have Tucker in the 2 holes, Soto 3, Alonso 4, and then maybe Semien 5, or if you're not going to have him 5, if Brett Beatty continues to ascend, could he be 5? Could Alvarez take that next step? It completely changes this lineup. Tucker is in a different category when it comes to players. He is a Hall of Famer. Cody Bellinger is not, but that's not to slight Bellinger. It just is what it is. Tucker is the ace of this free agency. There's no bones about it. But the run prevention side, if you're going to go defense, you got to continue. You have to look at Bellinger. I'd be happy with either or.
Couple of Gators getting back together. What about you, Liz? Who do you think is a better fit here?
I would actually think Bellinger because of the positional versatility. All 3 positions in the outfield, that allows for Carson Bench to, get out there but have some support behind him as well as he gets acclimated to the major leagues. I also think that even if the Mets do get Pete Alonso, he does provide some backup at first base too if the Mets do try to transition Pete Alonso to first base. Also, I think a really important factor is that Kyle Tucker has a qualifying offer attached to him, and the Mets do not want to mess with that.
I totally disagree when it comes to the qualifying offer. Steve Cohen could give a crap about a draft pick. Let's be real. If you're not signing Kyle Tucker because of a draft pick, then he ain't that good. But we all know he is, and to me, it'd be totally worth it. But let me ask you guys, if you are the GM, you could choose one of those guys and then go after the pitching staff that you want to make. Who would you get, Kyle Tucker or Bellinger? If they sign a Bellinger, to me, that signals that the Mets are not bringing back Pete Alonso. But if you do see them pick up Bellinger, if you do see them pick up a Kyle Tucker, that signals Alonso's probably coming back, because then they don't have an option at first base. Bellinger, you can kind of move all over the diamond. But that's all I got for you guys today. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless. Let's go Mets. And make sure you like, subscribe, turn those notifications on. Take care.